Hey friends, it's Rob Gowdy, Events Manager for Friends of the Hennepin County Library, and we're back with the Great Friends Read Together. It's our week 3 check-in for The Secret Garden, and this week we read chapters 15 through 21. But before we get started, let's share a little bit about what you said about last week's reading. First up, we'll take a look at what Allison shared on Facebook. I was struck by how Colin kept insisting he was going to die, but Mary wanted instead to talk about living things, e.g. Dickon and the garden. We saw how Mary became less spoiled after Martha refused to coddle her. It will be interesting to see how Mary has the same effect on Colin. Yes, it will be interesting to see if she does. I'm not going to say any more about that. Next up, Vanna shared this on Facebook. It's a quote from chapter 9. Mary had thought it must be different from other gardens which had not been left all by themselves so long. How still it is, she whispered, how still. Then she waited a moment and listened to the stillness. And Vanna said about this quote, for many of us, we seldom have stillness in our lives. We don't listen to the stillness. She begins to awaken the garden from the stillness in this chapter. Vanna, that's just beautiful. Yes, Mary does have to embrace the stillness before she can focus and wake up the garden. And speaking of waking up gardens, Peggy had this to share on Facebook. For me as for Mary, working in my garden is one of my best, most at-home places. It's wonderful to do work in service to beauty. I'm not a great gardener by any means, and my yard would never end up on a tour, but I love grubbing in the dirt and planting things that flourish and mourning those that don't make it. Don't we all? I also like that gardening is never a finished project. There are satisfactions and pleasures every day, but always something new to try. That's just so inspiring, Peggy. Thank you for sharing about your garden. And finally, Kay had this to share in email. I also thought about Dickon as a magical character, although I did not specifically think of him as Pan. Thinking more about it, he reminds me of other Pans that I have read about. Puck of Pook's Hill by Rudyard Kipling, for one. Another, more modern take on Pan is a series by Mercedes Lackey, although she calls her character Robin Goodfellow. They all represent the caretaker of nature, most specifically in England. Wow, Kay, I had never heard of either of those books, so thanks so much for the recommendation. And now it's time for the quote of the week. This week's quote is from chapter 19, and it's Martha talking to Mary after the midnight altercation with Colin. It's queer what a fancy he's took to thee. Thou did give it him last night for sure, didn't thou? Nobody else would have dared to it. Eh, poor lad, he's been spoiled till salt won't save him. Mother says as the two worst things as can happen to a child is never to have his own way or always to have it. She doesn't know which is the worst. And the reason that I chose this particular quote is it's an analysis of the big knockdown drag-out fight that Mary and Colin have, which is one of my favorite parts of the book. And at this point, we've kind of forgotten this spirited, fiery, obstinate Mary, and she stands up to Colin. But in Martha's analysis, we do learn that there's a lot that these two characters still have in common. Mary has grown quite a bit. Colin has a long way to go. However, even though it's technically a bad thing, I really do hope that Mary holds on to a bit of this stubbornness. I want her to be kinder. I want her to be more respectful. But I do want her to be a bit obstinate and stubborn in her adult life. And now it's time to dive deeper with background information. And boy, was this a fun week. I can't wait to dive in. So first, I was interested in the use of the Yorkshire dialect as a literary device in the book. Authors generally use dialect in works of literature to create a better sense of place and to help develop characterization. Dialect literature was enormously popular in the late 19th century. Just think about Mark Twain and his characters Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and their dialects. Frances Hodgson Burnett's first two big literary successes made use of dialect. Her first novel, That Lass o' Lowry's, and the story Surly Tim. And 50 years later, she was still using it in The Secret Garden. Now, I am not going to butcher a Yorkshire dialect on camera, but I do want you to learn a little of the Yorkshire dialect yourselves. So visit the Week 3 panel at supporthclib.org/greatread to learn more of the Yorkshire dialect. Next up, I was interested in magic in the Secret Garden. You may have noticed that Frances Hodgson Burnett often uses capital M magic to describe what is happening in the blooming garden. This fascination began after the death of her son by tuberculosis in 1890, when the author started to become interested in spiritual thought systems such as theosophy and Christian Science, which uphold magic as a natural part of life. One of the Secret Garden's greatest themes is the power of thought, such as when Colin miraculously stands, leaving behind his neurotic fears. It is no coincidence that this is also a common principle of Christian Science. Burnett's religious views are also evident in the themes of regeneration and renewal. Through nature symbolism, the author drives home the message that nothing that ever lives will die, but is constantly remade. Finally this week, I was interested in the England represented by the Secret Garden and wanted to learn more about Edwardian Britain. The Edwardian era spanned the King Edward reign, 1901 to 1910. This era has been described as a leisurely time when the rich were not ashamed to live conspicuously and the sun really never set on the British flag. Below the upper class, the era was marked by significant shifts in politics among sections of society that had largely been excluded from power, such as laborers, servants, the working class, and women. You may notice these themes as being popular in season 1 of Downton Abbey, for example, which took place in the Edwardian era. To better understand this era, you might want to check out the British Film Institute's list of 10 best films set in Edwardian Britain. These films include Howard's End and Mary Poppins, and the links to that list are also on the Week 3 panel at supporthclib.org/greatread. Finally, it's your turn to join the discussion. This week I have 2 prompts for you. Prompt number 1, excluding Martha, what role did the Misselthwaite staff play in the story? Mrs. Medlock, Dr. Craven, Colin's nurse, Ben Weatherstaff. What is Burnett saying about the spirit of an adult versus the spirit of a child? Prompt 2, Mary notices all of the changes to the Secret Garden as it comes back to life. She even sees Colin begin to change. In what ways are you noticing the return of spring to your own life? Okay, so let's get talking. You can join the conversation on the Friends of Hennepin County Library Facebook page. Just scroll down to the Week 3 post and join the conversation in comments. Or you can visit our website, supporthclib.org/greatread, to join the conversation by submitting an email. Next week, we're finishing this up. It's chapters 22 through the end of the book, and the Big Book Club finale is on Thursday, May 14th. Now, big announcement about the finale. It is going to be a live stream finale, and it is a special conversation with Westonka Library's Jo Claire Hartzig. So grab a proper cup of English tea. We'll be talking at 12:30 p.m. on May 14th, and you will have the chance to join the conversation in the live stream chat bar. Register for this live stream conversation at supporthclib.org/greatread, and we'll see you there. Have a great week. Happy reading.